To The Issue Is, I'm Elex Michaelson. Our interview with Congresswoman Karen Bass has already made national headlines this week. We were the first to report that 2 suspects were arrested by the LAPD for stealing 2 guns from her home. In a bizarre twist, they only took the guns and nothing else. On Wednesday, we sat down with the Congresswoman at her LA office for an exclusive conversation about that incident and a wide variety of topics. Congresswoman Bass, welcome back to The Issue Is. Always great to see you.
Thank you. Always great to be on the show.
I'm sorry to hear about what happened with you in terms of the robbery. From your perspective, what happened?
Well, I came home one evening to see my house in disarray, and it was very traumatic.
And so they stole 2 guns,
right,
that you say were locked up.
They were locked, they were registered, they were locked in a safe box, and they were stashed away in a closet.
Do you have any idea why somebody would do this, who these people are?
I have no idea. I will tell you that I did meet with detectives today. They have arrested a couple of individuals, but that's basically all I know at this point.
I mean, do you feel like you were targeted? Because it's weird that they would just take the guns and not anything else, right?
But you know, Angelenos all around the city are not feeling safe. And I did feel safe until my safety was shattered, like so many Angelenos. So at this point in time, I don't have any further information. I don't know if it was random or what.
And that's a reference to when we had the debate in the spring. I asked you, do you feel safe? Congresswoman, do you feel safe walking in Los
Angeles? I do feel safe. I would say a 10. I feel safe, but I do understand that a lot of people around the city do not feel safe, and I respect that.
You're saying now your view on that has changed.
My safety was shattered.
Yeah. And how does that make you think differently about potentially being mayor or about the issue of public safety?
Well, I don't know that it makes me think any different, because I thought from the beginning that the #1 job of the mayor is to make sure that Angelenos are safe. And in many neighborhoods, people don't feel safe. They would like to see an increased presence of police officers. And my position then and my position now is that for those neighborhoods that want to see an increased presence, then the quickest way to get officers on the street is to get them from behind the desk. It takes a long time to hire. We definitely need to hire, but we need to get officers on the street as fast as possible.
I think there were a lot of people that were surprised that you had guns. What kind of guns did you have, and what's your relationship been like with guns over the years?
Well, I had guns for personal safety, as do many people. And I think that gun control is extremely important, but I have never believed that people, if they wanted to have guns, should not have them.
Rick Caruso has suggested that your guns may not have been safely secured.
She should answer the question, did she have them adequately protected pursuant to the law?
What's your response to that?
My guns were registered. They were stored properly in a safe box. That's my response.
It's not the only issue, obviously. This is happening in the middle of a sort of crazy back and forth in terms of where we're at in this race right now. How do you see the state of the mayor's race right now?
Well, I'll tell you, it's very exciting. I have had a very exciting time going to every neighborhood around the city, having house meetings and rallies and hearing people's concerns. So it's a very exciting time. It's different than the primary. But I'm very encouraged at the breadth of support that I have, the coalition that I have put together, which is something that I have done for decades and have definitely been doing it in the campaign. The endorsements that I've gotten from community leaders, elected officials, bringing together labor and community. So it's an exciting time.
It's also gotten pretty nasty recently. A lot of comments about USC as well, going back and forth.
I think
what
that's
do you make
the
of that?
nature of a. I think that's the nature of a campaign, and I think it's important that we stay focused, though, on the problems of Angelenos. And I'm not sure how concerned Angelenos are about USC, but I do think Angelenos are concerned about, 1, being safe, 2, the problem with homelessness, and the fact that our city has become so unaffordable. So that has been my focus, and that has been the dialogue I've been having with voters all around the city.
And Caruso's suggestion that your degree from USC was some sort of quid pro quo, you say?
Well, he was the chairman of the Board of Trustees, so I think it's very interesting. He had full knowledge of what was going on.
Another big issue that people care a lot about is abortion rights. We see that as a huge thing in the midterms already. This week, Senator Lindsey Graham said that there should be a national ban on abortion at 15 weeks. And he suggested that if Republicans win the House and the Senate, there will be a vote on that.
If we take back the House and the Senate, I can assure you we'll have a vote on our bill. If the Democrats are in charge, I don't know if we'll ever have a vote on our bill.
Well, I know that Angelenos care about this issue, and I have supported, as a woman, a woman's right to choose my entire life. And so the difference between the two of us will be clear. Someone who has always stood for a woman's right to choose and a woman's right and access to abortion versus someone who has recently come into that position. And so I think what is also different on the race this time around is that the differences between the two of us are very clear, and that's one of them. Now, that is why it is so important that we pass this proposition that voters will have an opportunity to vote on. I believe it will be Proposition 1, and that will enshrine a woman's right to choose in our state constitution. What Lindsey Graham proposed doing yesterday makes it all the more important, gives a sense of urgency, because we know we have the right to choose in California. But if we learned anything from the last administration, the Trump administration, you can't take anything for granted. I mean, for 50 years, we've had this right. It was taken away from us. So we cannot just say, this is California, we don't have to worry about it. That's why we have to all go out and vote. And I know that it is an issue that women care about. I hear about it every day.
Another issue that you care a lot about is human trafficking.
Yes.
Just this week in Congress, one of your bills passed unanimously.
That's right.
Headed to President Biden's desk. What does that do exactly?
That's right. The president hopefully will sign it any day, and it basically provides resources to for human traffic victims. And this is an issue that I've worked on for many, many years. I had another bill pass out of the House on human trafficking as well, so this one adds to it, and it provides resources, financial resources, to those community organizations who do the work supporting victims as well as the victims themselves.
Is it weird for you in these final days of Congress sort of wrapping things up?
Well, it is, and it's certainly bittersweet. I mean, I've enjoyed my time in Congress, and, you know, I didn't decide to leave because I got tired of Congress. I decided to leave because of the urgency of what we are facing in Los Angeles, the crisis that we have of people who are unhoused, the fact that 3 or 4 of them probably didn't wake up this morning, the fact that Angelenos aren't feeling safe, and also that the city has become so unaffordable. That's what led me to not run again, and I'm very excited with the campaign in the last 50-plus days.
And a big part of that is going to be the first televised debate next week.
Yes.
We're honored to be a part of that. What's your strategy?
My strategy is to get the issues out there and to be very clear about my values, who I am, and the various positions that I have.
There was a Fox News commentator who suggested that Rick Caruso is the GOP's choice.
Rick Caruso is the GOP candidate out there. He would be. I think he would be a really good mayor. And this race it's going to be very tough. There's so many Democrats that live in Los Angeles.
Do you agree with that?
I think he is the GOP's choice. I think that he has been a Republican the majority of his life. He's flipped back and forth. And I think when one flips back and forth, you do have to wonder exactly who they are.
And when he says Democrats have screwed up this city and you're going to get more of the same.
What I would say is that this is a Democratic city. So 60% of the voters in Los Angeles are Democrats. But even more important than that, if you want to solve the issues of our city, we have a democracy. You have to work with the people who are elected in office, and they are Democrats. So that's why I am proud of the fact that I have support from the elected officials on every level of government, and I systematically pursued their endorsement because everybody that has endorsed me will be a decision maker on the most important issues in Los Angeles. So you can disparage those people who are in office and who make decisions, but then how are you going to work with them? If you think that you can go into City Hall and order everybody to do whatever you say, I think you're going to have a surprise.
Our thanks to Congresswoman Bass. We reached out to her opponent, Rick Caruso, offered him equal time this week. He declined our offer. He did agree to join us for the first televised debate of the LA mayor's race on Wednesday night. We're also hosting a debate for the LA sheriff's race. I'm co-moderating. You can watch both of them live on Fox 11 TV or you can stream it live on the Fox 11 Los Angeles app if you don't live in Los Angeles. This is airing from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific time. Up next, we go inside PragerU, but